Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. I'm Lorraine and we are going to continue using the textured note stamp set today. And I'm going to make this really cute front Z-fold card. I took a card making class this weekend at Paper Art Creations in Leduc, Alberta. And Dooreen was our instructor, lovely lady, and she can be found at Crafty Tiger 222, which I will put in the comments. And she has amazing ideas. She loves interactive cards, so things like this with interest. If you wanted to make a little pocket here, you could put a gift card in here. You might still see a little bit here if you want. You can put your greeting on the inside. You've got lots of options for flipping and flapping on this one. So how do we go ahead and make this card? You're going to start with just a basic card base, just a standard North American card base. This is 5 1/4 by 4. If you want it to be a much narrower margin, you can cut this at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 so that it fills up more of the background. But I'd already cut this paper, and this is the Floral Charm paper. So this is 5 1/4 by 4. I've already stamped and fussy cut out a couple of little floral pieces to go in the top, the leaves. This is stamped in Berry Burst, this is stamped in Mossy Meadow, and it is on Smoky Slate because I wanted to kind of tie into the background that's on the DSP. Looking at it now, I could have probably taken a blending brush and just done some light blending and then stamped over top to get this so they weren't quite so washed out or dim. It'd be a little bit brighter, but I'm going to carry on with that. Now, how do we make the card itself? So we are going to cut a piece of cardstock at 5 by 4 1/4. So you're going to take a quarter, or cut it at 5, take a 1/4 inch off your 8 1/2 by 11. So again, this is 5 by 8 1/4. Then we're going to score it at 3 1/4 and 6. So I'm just going to pop this in my scoring board here. And this is 3 1/4 and 6. Okay, we're going to worry about those peaks and valleys in the Z-fold in just a minute. So I'm just going to fold this back on itself and then back on itself again. And we're going to just use that bone folder, give that a good squish, like this. Okay, so that's what you end up with. Again, that's your Z-fold front. For designer series paper, this piece here is actually going to be glued to the front of the card. So you only need one piece of designer series paper for this space, and it's 4 3/4 by 3 1/8. In the middle here, you need to cut 2 pieces at 4 1/2 by 2 5/8. And on the end here, you need to cut 2 at 4 1/2 by 2 1/8. And then you're going to fold this up, and you're going to take your paper trimmer, and to cut the peaks and valleys in the front, you're going to take this. This is bottom right corner. So when you see at BRC 2 1/2, that's your bottom right corner here. So you're going to fold this up just the way it would be on the front of the card. You're going to put this corner at 2 1/2, and then you're going to line this corner up in the cutting trough. If you want a steeper cut, you just move this over so you get a steeper cut. But we want that 2 1/2 inch cut. So we're going to put that there like that. Line this up. Make sure I'm still at 2 1/2. Pop that in there. Now this is a corner, and I don't want to cut into the corner because it's going to blunt that corner and make it not quite as crisp. So I'm going to cut up and then come back down and cut like that. This piece ends up being, the top ends up being scrap. You can keep it if you want to use it for small die cuts or whatever, but I'm just going to throw that away. So now we have our card front. This is where it gets a lot of fun. You just need to get a pencil out, because what we have to do now is we have to put our DSP on, but we have cut our DSP as rectangles. So then how do we get our pieces of paper to have the correct angle on them? And this is something that gets everybody every time. So what we need to do is we need to line this up right at that top corner like that, and right to the edge like that, and then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to draw a line like that on the back. Now you can use your paper trimmer to cut this, or you can use scissors. I'm just going to use scissors because it's quicker than dragging the paper trimmer out again. You're just going to cut along that pencil line like that. Again, you can save this for another project, or it's scrap. Again, this is going to glue down like this. So you're going to put this piece right in here like that. And you can see you've got that perfect angle because you lined it all up. So I'm going to just adhere this down. And that one's out, which is why we have another one. Okay. And we're just going to pop this down. Again, this is the Floral Charm Designer Series paper. Okay, so now we've got our middle pieces, and I want them, I'm not going to use this really pretty side. I'm going to use this side here, but I can cut them both at once. So because I want this side up, then I need to draw my pencil line on the other side. Yes, I need to draw my pencil line on the other side. I do this wrong every time because it's like doing foundation paper piecing. It just gets goofy. So I want this like this. So I'm going to line this one up. I'm not going to try and cut them both at the same time. I'm going to draw them both at the same time. I'm going to do this like this. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to draw my line like that. Okay. Now I know that I want this side up and I want this side up. So I can actually cut these out together now. I'm just going to line those up, and I'm going to trim. And I haven't done this on the back because, again, struggling with my spatial relationships here this morning. We're going to trim that off. And before we put these down, I want to go ahead and use my Lasting Linen stamp. I do have the Lasting Linen stamp number here. I used it on the greeting. I did it in Mossy Meadow, second value, and then inked a little note of appreciation over the top. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our Berry Burst, and we are going to ink up the stamp like that. And this is just an extra piece that I had. I'm just going to pop this down like this and pick up some of that first value. And then I'm going to lay this down to pick up some of that second value like that. So you've got just little subtle bits on here. And if you want to do, I'll do the second one full value so you can see the difference. Just going to pop this down just like that. Give it a little bit of a push and then pick it up. And this is a photopolymer stamp, so it is super sticky. So I'm just going to move that thing right out of the way so that I don't put my fingers in it or anything. Okay, so this is first value, and the second value really doesn't show up. So we're good to go as doing this as first value. I wouldn't even worry about doing second value on this. But what we are going to do is we're going to take our Mossy Meadow and we're going to ink up the small set of leaves, just like that. And we're going to stamp down like that. And stamp down like this. So just because I'm using designer series paper doesn't mean I can't decorate the designer series paper. And I love this little sprig of leaves. I really like it. So I'm just going to pop that one down like that. And I do actually really prefer the first value on this. So we're just going to make a note to yourself. Use the first value of Berry Burst ink on the Berry Burst designer series paper. Moving my stamp pad out of the way again. Okay, so let's bring our card back in. Okay, this one is going to go here, just like this. So we are going to adhere that down just like this. And again, our angles are bang on because we drew that pencil line. So we're going to go ahead again, and we're going to attach this down. Keeping in mind, again, this is going to be adhered down to the card. So now we've got our two pieces of the designer series paper. You can use a different paper here if you want to. You don't have to use the same paper. But we're going to, I want this side up. So I'm going to take this, it's lined right up against that edge and that corner. And then I'm going to do my pencil line like this, and I can cut these both at the same time, making sure my paper is the correct way up. And I'm cutting from the back, and I'm just going to cut along that pencil line. Okay, and then we can adhere these down. So this one will go here like this. And you can add bling to this. You can go crazy with this. This is, like I say, this is really cute for junk journaling as well, because you can add little pockets, you can make little secret stash spots, you can do all kinds of things. Okay. Now we'll put our last piece on here. Like that. So that's the front of our card. We've got our little flip flap going on. And away we go. So this piece, let's start building our card now. So I'm going to pop this onto the front of the card. Put a little bit more adhesive in the middle because it's going to be heavy there. And we're going to put this down. Again, you could do this as a 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 to have that narrower border if you want. And then I know that these are going to go here like this. So I just need to pick up the card that I dropped on the floor. And on the sample card, we had a little pull tab here. I am using the greeting on this as my pull tab. So let's go ahead and attach these down. I'm just going to put some adhesive on these and pop one up like this and one over like this. Okay. Now, when we adhere this down, we have the great opportunity here to make this a pocket. Like on this one, we've actually got that as a little pocket. So what you would do is you would adhere, you'd put adhesive here, here, and here. And then you'd cut your tag or whatever accordingly. So I am not going to do that, but you can just put adhesive around here. I am going to just adhere the whole thing down to the front. But if you are junk journaling and want to use this on your junk journaling, that is a great kind of secret stash spot. Now, you just saw me try and put this in the middle. I am all about lining things up, but you need this down at the bottom because otherwise your card could fall forward. So you want this to actually stand up. If you've got this up in the middle, it could actually tip over. So you're lining everything up at the bottom. So we're lining this up at the bottom, equal distance from side to side, and we're going to adhere that down. Okay, so there is our opening. Just you get 2 flaps that way, kind of 3 flaps that way. And you can, if you need a card for lots of people to sign, this is a really good alternative. You can make it that little bit bigger, and then you can leave these blank and people can sign inside. And then you've still got the interior of the card. I am going to dimensionalize the greeting. And here we need to be careful where we're putting the dimensionals because this will stick out over the edges. So we want to make sure that our dimensionals are inside that edge. And again, we're using this as our pull tab. So we're just going to pop this down kind of right in the middle like that. So we can use it as our pull tab, and then it folds flat to open. So that is our card. We can absolutely add bling. We can do all kinds of things, but this is super simple. Again, using the Floral Charm Designer Series paper, and this background piece is actually from the Traditions of Christmas paper because I didn't have a big enough piece that I wanted to use there. So that is our card, and I love the flippy flappiness of it. So thank you to Dooreen at Crafty Tiger 222, and let's create together again soon.